The poem I'll be looking at today is called One Flesh by Elizabeth Jennings. In this poem, the speaker reflects on the relationship of her parents who still live together but no longer love one another and they no longer sleep in the same bed. The tone is reflective and sad, but there's also a sense of inevitability. In the title, we have this religious connotation in the term one flesh, suggesting that they're joined in marriage. But that word flesh also ironically connotes sensuality, which is certainly something which has been lost in the relationship. Let's look at the form and structure first of all. It's a closed form poem. It's written in 3 6-line stanzas, and the fact that it has such a strict form could suggest that the speaker is trying to place some kind of structure onto her parents' marriage, but it could also suggest the monotony of the relationship. The lines are all very much the same length, pretty much all 10 syllables per line. The rhyme scheme stays the same in the first couple of stanzas, but then changes in the last one, so it is slightly irregular, reflecting the broken relationship between the parents. We've also got a couple of interesting couplets. Here we've got a heroic couplet at the end of the very first stanza. A heroic couplet is 2 lines of rhymed iambic pentameter. So whereas before in this stanza there was no particular meter, here it's got very strong iambic rhythm, so some new event the book he holds unread, her eyes fixed on the shadows overhead. And that strong meter in that section there reinforces their binding marriage and the fact that they're not actually going to separate, but juxtaposes the lack of meter in the previous lines, reflecting their separateness. Although these first 2 stanzas end in a rhyming couplet, the final one does not, and that reflects again the separation of the couple. So let's have a look at the language of the poem now. Lying apart now, each in a separate bed. We've got that caesura there reflecting the separation and the fact that they sleep in separate beds, not together. They're both looking for a form of escapism, so he with a book, she like a girl dreaming of childhood. They're looking to be elsewhere, they don't really want to be together. The simile like a girl suggests that she wants to return to a happier time in her life, thinking about other men. And this part of the line here, it is as if they wait, it's not clear at this moment because of the enjambment, it's not clear whether that refers to the men or the couple themselves. Is it the couple who are waiting? That's only clarified as we move on to the next line. They wait some new event, they're just waiting for something new to happen because that nothing changes in their life. The book he holds unread, her eyes fixed on the shadows overhead. Their relationship and the life they share has come to a complete standstill. Nothing is happening for them. And that reference to shadows creates a gloomy and sombre tone. So the shadows overhead could also suggest the future unhappy years that they still have to spend together. It's also interesting that the husband keeps the light on while she reflects on the shadows. Again, the difference between light and dark, suggesting the separateness between them. In the second stanza, we've got this image here, tossed up like flotsam from a former passion. That verb toss suggests a lack of control, perhaps suggesting that they couldn't have helped the way they are now, introducing that sense of inevitability. Flotsam is wreckage, so that shows their vulnerability and the extent to which their relationship has broken down. And that reference to a former passion gives a sense that they did once have a loving relationship, and that increases the pathos of the poem. There's this sense of coldness and coolness throughout the poem, which juxtaposes that idea of passion, which we might link to heat. We've got another use of caesura here, and it follows that very short clause, how cool they lie, again showing their separation and that sense of the inevitability of their fate. They hardly ever touch, or if they do, it is like a confession. That word confession links back to the religious connotations of the title, but in a more negative way. And so does that word chastity there. So we've got this sense that they still remain true to their vows and will stay together in marriage even if they're not happy. chastity faces them, so the word chastity is personified here, giving it power and almost a threatening sense. And it's seen as a destination for which their whole lives were preparation. Again, we've got that sense of inevitability reflected in that rhyming couplet, which gives a sense of finality. In the final stanza, we've got the repetition of this word strangely, strangely apart, yet strangely close together, reflecting the fact they're still in the house together, and yet it's strange that they are because they don't love each other anymore. The fact that it's strange could be the speaker's perception, or it could be the perception of the couples themselves. Silence between them like a thread to hold and not wind in. And these references to thread and feather here suggest that the relationship itself is very delicate, very vulnerable. The gradual, unnoticed effects of time are compared to a feather, suggesting that what's changed in their relationship has happened over a long period of time, and it's not something that they were able to notice. And that's reflected in the fact that they don't seem to know that they're old. She says, "These two who are my father and my mother." So she doesn't refer to them as my parents, they're separate people now. "Whose fire from which I came has now grown cold." So again, we've got that juxtaposition of heat and coolness, of the passion and the cool, the fire and the cold, again suggesting the separateness between them and showing that their passion has died out. And that final rhetorical question there again increases the pathos of the whole poem.